Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, or whatever the case may be for you. I am Omari, and this evening, I just want to share a little bit about Inauguration Day, looking at it through the lens of mundane astrology. We know that the past few months have been very interesting here in the United States, and on tomorrow, President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris will be inaugurated at Washington, D.C. at approximately 12 noon. And at this time, I'm even sharing with you on the screen the chart for the inauguration. And I just want to touch on some of the highlights. And first thing I want to give attention to is the sun. So if you notice in the 10th house, the sun is at 0 degrees of Aquarius in 52 minutes. And I think that is a perfect time to inaugurate a new president or presidential administration, in that the sun is at the ingress point of Aquarius, or the beginning point, which is 0 degrees. And in this chart, we see that the sun, Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury are all in the same zodiac sign of Aquarius. And the sun represents the president, Saturn represents the Democratic Party, Jupiter represents the Republican Party, and Mercury would represent the press, newspapers. Guess for good measure, we could include radio and also social media as a form or avenue for communicating the news. And as you can see, these four planets, technically the sun is not a planet, but to keep it simple and sweet, we refer to the sun and the moon as planets, but technically they are not. But we see the four of them in the same zodiac sign of Aquarius, and want to give also some attention to the fact that all of these planets have the same dispositor, which is Saturn. Now, the traditional ruler of Aquarius is Saturn, and the modern ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. Without question, the president and the Democratic Party will work very closely together. And considering that Jupiter is in Aquarius and disposited by Saturn, the Republican Party will be under the influence, or the, maybe I should say the word power, of the Democratic Party, because any legislation that makes its way through Congress and makes it to the Senate for a vote in the Senate, we know we have 50 Republican senators, we have 50 Democratic senators, and therefore it would be the responsibility of the vice president to cast a deciding vote. And we know that that will be Kamala Harris. She's a Democrat, therefore she would cast a deciding vote. So anything that made it to the Senate, and if the vote was split down party lines, the deciding vote would be in favor of the Democratic Party. Let's see, what else do I want to say about this? I also want to speak to that if we take a look at the modern ruler of Aquarius, which is Uranus, Uranus can represent disruptions. And we all know that this inauguration will take place in Washington, D.C. So what are some of the disruptions that are taking place? Well, they have 15,000 to 20,000 National Guardsmen in the nation's capital. The public transportation system that is referred to as the metro, they most likely will suspend train service at certain stops near and around the nation's capital. In addition to that, the United States Postal Service, I think, is suspending service for the day. And I remember reading that some of the mailboxes, physical mailboxes, will be removed and temporarily relocated. And when the inauguration ceremony is over, the U.S. Postal Services, those services that were suspended will be restored, and the physical mailboxes will be returned to their respective locations. In addition to that, various bridges that lead to the nation's capital will also be raised. I don't remember the name of the bridge, but I know it's the Potomac River. And so some of the bridges leading into the nation's capital will be raised, and that means that people won't be able to travel into the nation's capital for the inauguration. So that's certainly Uranus in play in terms of some of the disruption. I want to speak to the moon. As you can see, the moon is in the 12th house right here, and the moon is 29 degrees of Aries. And so here we have a moon that is void of course. And the moon, within the context of mundane astrology, represents the public or the masses of people. This moon is also in the 12th house. The 12th house can represent um, things from behind the scenes. And so the public will be secluded. It just so happens that due to what occurred on Wednesday, January 6th at the US Capitol, with several supporters of President Donald Trump, technically right now he's still the president, several of his supporters, hundreds of his supporters did as some media news outlets state, they did storm the Capitol in an effort to disrupt certification of the electoral ballots. And that did happen. And, we have all seen that. And so as a result, the public will be secluded or removed from that. Um, let's see, and that's the case really for their own protection. You can see that Aries is intercepted in the 12th house. And when a planet is in a zodiac sign that is intercepted, it does represent some protection, if you will, or something being hidden away. So everyone in our homes and in our apartments, we have a bedroom, and inside the bedroom, there is a closet. And so when we have a planet that's intercepted in a sign, we are essentially saying that planet is located in the closet inside of that bedroom, not just that that planet is inside of the bedroom. And that's an analogy that I can offer to help explain that concept to you. Let's see. So we have Mars conjunct Uranus. So Mars and Uranus are both at 6 degrees of Taurus, which is a fixed sign. And so Uranus rules the 11th house, which represents Congress. And Uranus also represents rioting and rebellion. Mars rules the military and the police, and we know the National Guard will be there at the Capitol to protect Congress, to protect the president-elect, to protect the vice president-elect, and all of those who are allowed to be in attendance. These two planets together can trigger a revolt. Now, in the 12th house, the house of secrets, um, I think that those who support President Donald Trump and really wanted to see him win the election and continue for another 4 years to serve as president of the United States, I think their ideology, philosophy, and momentum, it will continue. It may continue behind the scenes, hence the nature of these two planets in the 12th house. They may organize, well, we know they exist, so they're not secret societies, but in terms of not what they may do, but how they may do some things, that may be kept a secret from the public. And it's, the type of group that's really hidden in plain sight. I also want to highlight the planet Pluto, which is here in the ninth house at 24 degrees of Capricorn. And Pluto is making a conjunction or is conjoining the 10th house cusp, which is 26 degrees of Capricorn right here at the chart, if at the top of the chart, if you can see my cursor. And Pluto represents mobs and organizations. And if a mob shows up, the mob will be organized like an army and have tactical strategies. So if you recall some of the video footage you saw and even still photos you saw of the riot that took place at the US Capitol on Wednesday, January 6th, you will observe that some of those in attendance, they wore bulletproof vests, they had tactical gear, hunting knives, handguns, rifles. There's this one picture that's circulating on social media and various media outlets of a gentleman who had zip ties visible in plain view. And those are the types of uh, yeah, tactical strategies or gear that individuals who are part of that group, the Proud Boys, they are, I'll say, yeah, the Proud Boys, they dress like that, and those who wear the red hats, which state "Make America Great Again," the MAGA hats. So it's possible that on tomorrow they may make an attempt to show up at the White House. We do know that capitals across all 50 states are on high alert for potential rioting and potential destruction of municipal property. Let's see. And it could be that groups of that nature who support Trump, it could be they may adopt some type of divide and conquer strategy. Not quite sure how that might manifest, but that might be the strategy that they employ. Um, and that particular and what they're up to is really an affront, if you will, to the status of the United States as a global leader, a country that's a world leader. The 11th House rules Congress, and what we see in that house is the planet Neptune. And yes, the planet Neptune is associated with deception, smoke and mirrors, if you will. And there is still some self-deception or self-denial on the part of some Republicans in Congress who still are reluctant or refuse to acknowledge publicly, and especially to their constituents, that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won the election with the majority of the votes. They won the popular vote as well as the vote from the Electoral College. And so some of that is still going on. So those are some of the highlights I wanted to point out and share with you with respect to the inauguration chart. This is the first video that I'm ever posting to my YouTube channel, Astropreneurship. For those of you who would like to follow up with me, feel free to send me an email, Omari, Omari, at solarwisdom.com. That's SOULAR wisdom.com. Once again, feel free to send me an email at Omari at solarwisdom.com, or simply put Omari at solarwisdom.com. So take care. I will be posting more videos in the future about business, entrepreneurship, perhaps about politics. Politics is really the exception, but nevertheless, I will be posting more videos in the future. So take care and be well.